Celebrity chef and lifestyle mogul Joanna Gaines has ignited major controversy by taking aim at Blake Lively's reputation. In a newly released video, Gaines allegedly presents evidence that appears to show Blake harassing her, a move that has sent shockwaves across social media and the entertainment world. As the footage circulates, public opinion is rapidly shifting, and the incident is fueling intense debate about Blake's behavior and the potential impact on her carefully crafted public image.
Mom and I were staying at Hotel 1928 in Waco, Texas this weekend. Blake Lively and her team were staying there as well after South by Southwest in Austin on Friday night. We found this out from all the hotel staff.
What's really going on between these two A-listers? What's been caught on camera has fans stunned. And trust us, things are about to get messy. Blake Lively and Joanna Gaines have suddenly found themselves at the center of unexpected drama that no one saw coming. Most people didn't even realize the two women knew each other until the situation involving Caitlyn exploded. Caitlyn had been staying at Joanna's Waco, Texas hotel, Hotel 1928, the beautifully designed boutique destination tied to Joanna's home and lifestyle empire. That's where things take a strange turn. Blake was in Texas for South by Southwest, yet instead of staying near the event, she checked in to Hotel 1928, more than an hour and a half away. Coincidence or something more? Rumors quickly spread that Blake was there to meet Joanna about a potential business collaboration, while Caitlyn, just an ordinary fan, suddenly found herself caught in the middle of a story far bigger than anyone expected. She was simply on a weekend trip, checking off a bucket list stay and enjoying the experience. Caitlyn wasn't trying to go viral or chase celebrities, but everything changed when she realized Blake Lively was also staying at the hotel. Naturally, when Caitlyn spotted Blake striding loudly through the lobby as if she owned the place, she pulled out her phone and filmed a brief clip of the star in action. That single moment was all it took, because from there, things quickly began to spiral out of control.
Her coming into the hotel lobby, we were just hanging out, people watching. Her team caught wind of this, I believe. Maybe saw me recording her on the security camera, did not like this. Thought maybe I recorded something they didn't want out there, didn't want me to see, whatever. Next morning, we kind of were being followed by her security guard a little bit on the way out, checking out of the hotel. Blake Lively herself comes out, starts recording us, says hi to get us to look up at her, circles our car, gets the car information, license plates, all that. Online harassment started the next day. Her lawyer, her social media person, her nanny were looking at my stories. They ended up making troll accounts, and someone called me fat. Long versions are on here if you...
But then the situation took a strange and unsettling turn. Caitlyn had been casually filming in the hotel lobby when Blake noticed the camera. Instead of brushing it off or walking away, Blake allegedly began circling Caitlyn's car and filming her license plate, an encounter many found deeply unsettling. Shaken by what happened, Caitlyn shared the bizarre experience on social media, and that's when everything truly exploded. Soon, unfamiliar faces started appearing in her stories. Blake's hotel manager, members of her social media team, even her nanny, giving the impression that Blake had sent her entire entourage to keep tabs on Caitlyn. As if that wasn't enough, Caitlyn began receiving a wave of online abuse, with trolls flooding her DMs and comments with cruel insults and disturbing messages. What began as an innocent hotel sighting quickly spiraled into full-blown harassment. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, rumors started circulating that Blake Lively and Joanna Gaines were locked in a tense feud, allegedly triggered by the very same hotel incident, with sources claiming Blake was furious over how everything unfolded. Sources claim Blake was especially upset that Hotel 1928 didn't cater to her like royalty. There was no red carpet, no private floor access, just the same lobby entrances as every other guest. One insider even remarked that Blake behaved as if she were staying at Buckingham Palace rather than a Texas boutique hotel, and people definitely noticed. The backlash grew louder when Blake, who often emphasizes her need for privacy, was accused of hypocrisy after allegedly filming Caitlyn herself. Critics now say she's trying to control the narrative, but after all the chaos, many are questioning how long she can continue dodging accountability. accountability now seems unavoidable as drama appears to follow Blake like a shadow. What was once a warm, mutual admiration between Blake and Joanna Gaines has reportedly cooled into a full-blown Cold War. The two were once close, exchanging texts, sharing creative ideas, and publicly praising one another. Blake openly admired Joanna's design empire, and there was even buzz about a possible collaboration. Last fall, they were spotted together in New York City, fueling excitement among fans. But everything reportedly unraveled when Blake checked into Joanna's Hotel 1928 while promoting her upcoming film Another Simple Favor. Sources say the hotel staff didn't provide the VIP treatment Blake expected, and tensions quickly surfaced. When Caitlin filmed a brief clip of Blake in the lobby, it allegedly set off a chain reaction. Witnesses claim Blake made entitled remarks about the lack of exclusivity, no red carpet, no closed-off floor, despite walking through the lobby like every other guest, only to act shocked when she was recognized. Insiders say Joanna and her team were put off by Blake's behavior and have little interest in smoothing things over. With mounting personal and legal issues already surrounding her, the friendship now appears firmly on pause, and the fallout doesn't end there. Blake has been trending for weeks, not for her film, but for her escalating legal battle with former co-star Justin. Since filing harassment claims, her public image has taken a noticeable hit, and the more she pushes back, the more past incidents resurface. One name repeatedly coming up is journalist Kirsty Flaw, who recently revisited her own uncomfortable experience with Blake during a 2016 press junket. Kirsty recalled congratulating Blake on her pregnancy with a harmless comment, "Congrats on your bump," only for Blake to snap back sarcastically, "Congrats on your bump," a remark Kirsty says felt like public body shaming. The moment was so humiliating that Kirsty admitted it nearly drove her to quit journalism altogether, adding yet another layer to the growing scrutiny surrounding Blake's behavior. She stayed quiet for years, choosing not to speak out. But now, as more people come forward with stories about Blake's behavior, Kirsty says she felt it was finally time to share her own experience, and people are listening. With old incidents resurfacing and new accusations continuing to pile up, Blake Lively has found herself at the center of a growing media storm, and the question everyone is asking now is whether this is just another PR crisis or the beginning of a long overdue reckoning.
Congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump. What about my bump?
Kirsty later revealed that the encounter was so humiliating it nearly pushed her to quit journalism altogether. When she finally shared the clip in August, Blake reportedly didn't take accountability. Instead, she accused Kirsty of secretly working for Justin Baldoni, a claim that only fueled more backlash. But the controversy doesn't stop there. Kirsty has interviewed Blake twice, and by her account, the experience was far from the image of America's sweetheart. In one interview, Blake allegedly pressured Kirsty's boyfriend, who is also a journalist, to chug gin at 9 a.m. She has also been caught on camera telling male reporters to take their shirts off, prompting accusations of blatant double standards. Now that Kirsty's video has gone viral, more people who have worked with Blake are coming forward. Interns, makeup artists, hairstylists, assistant directors, and their accounts share a troubling consistency. According to them, this isn't about one bad day, but a pattern of dismissive, rude behavior that made people uncomfortable. The picture being painted is anything but flattering, and as more stories surface, the situation continues to grow messier.
Completely ignoring me. If you watch this clip I'm going to show you, I think it's about 1.5 minutes long. Blake Lively does not look at me one single time until the end.
You might be wondering why people didn't speak out about Blake sooner. The truth is, it's complicated. Many claim they wanted to call her out for years, but were simply too afraid. And the reason comes down to power. Blake and her extremely famous husband wield significant influence in Hollywood, and speaking out against them can feel like career suicide. In an industry where reputation is everything, even truthful criticism can result in doors slamming shut overnight. That fear kept many voices silent. But now, as more people are finally coming forward, Blake is positioning herself as the victim, suggesting the backlash is solely because she spoke out against harassment. Shy, however, isn't buying that narrative, and neither is a growing number of people. Over the weekend, the tension only seemed to escalate further. Sherry recently gave an interview to the Daily Mail detailing her personal run-in with Blake, bluntly titled "My Encounter from Hell with Blake Lively." That article appeared to open the floodgates. Since its release, more than 20 people have come forward with their own accounts of Blake's allegedly shady or mean-spirited behavior. To many observers, it's starting to look less like isolated incidents and more like a clear pattern, one that some say traces back to Blake's upbringing. Her mother has long been described as notoriously demanding and entitled on set, and insiders believe Blake grew up watching that behavior firsthand and may have adopted similar traits. According to a crisis PR expert, Blake's relationship with fame is deeply rooted in entitlement, with expectations of being treated like royalty and a tendency to dismiss those she considers beneath her. What's especially telling, critics say, is how she responds to criticism, often by deflecting blame rather than taking responsibility, and painting others as the problem. It's as if she can't handle the idea that people might not adore her as much as she adores herself. This constant deflection makes it increasingly difficult to trust her version of events. Rather than acknowledging any part of the conflict, she positions herself as the victim. Some observers have even drawn comparisons to the infamous Amber Heard and Johnny Depp legal battle, not because the situations are equal, but because both highlight how public perception can shift dramatically once multiple sides of a story emerge. Blake, however, doesn't seem content to let the situation fade quietly. She continues to fan the flames, often through PR moves that are poorly received. For instance, right after a damning article surfaced, she appeared in Connecticut handing out donuts to fans, a gesture many viewed as disingenuous and desperate. The bigger issue is that Blake's behavior is now Her behavior is overshadowing the very harassment allegations she has made against Justin. Speaking out against misconduct is crucial, but it becomes harder to take seriously when it's entangled with what many perceive as attention-seeking behavior. Instead of addressing valid criticism about her own actions, Blake reframes everything as an attack meant to silence her. Many of the people calling her out aren't even focused on the lawsuit itself. They've had negative personal experiences with her, or were put off by her interviews and public conduct. Yet she seems determined to frame the entire backlash as harassment, even when much of it isn't. What could have helped? A sincere apology, something along the lines of, "I'm truly sorry I made Sherry feel disrespected," or "I regret falsely accusing Justin and dragging him into a legal mess." Instead, she doubles down, continuing to portray herself as the target of a smear campaign rather than acknowledging her role in the fallout. By refusing to own any missteps, she further erodes trust in her narrative. Looking closer at the lawsuits and supporting documents, the power imbalance is clear. Blake and her husband Ryan wield enormous influence, both socially and within the industry, which raises serious concerns about how difficult it can be for individuals to pursue justice in cases like this. Victims of harassment, toxic work environments, or misconduct often face an uphill battle. They are dismissed, discredited, or outright blamed. That's the larger conversation that needs attention. Why holding powerful Hollywood figures accountable remains so difficult. Some insiders even suggest Blake is someone you can't be alone with, not without a witness or a recording for protection. A particularly complex element involves the intimacy coordinator on the set of It Ends With Us. Reports indicate that Blake and Justin had private conversations about specific scenes, adding another layer of tension and scrutiny to the situation. Discussions that many now believe should never have happened without a neutral third party present continue to fuel controversy. If a producer or a female team member had been in the room, it's possible the situation wouldn't have escalated the way it did. Although Blake initially claimed she didn't want to be involved in the planning, it now seems she may be using that as leverage, flipping the narrative to cast Justin in a negative light. But let's be real, this case is highly unlikely to go to trial, as that would benefit neither side. At the moment, Blake is taking the brunt of public backlash. Yet, if any damaging information about Justin surfaces, public opinion could pivot in an instant. That seems to be something Blake doesn't fully grasp. She continues to insist that people hate her because of some story Justin supposedly planted, when in reality, many feel she's exacerbating the situation through her own behavior. Observers say if Blake genuinely wanted to repair her reputation, she would stop posting, stop making public appearances, and stop turning every moment into a photo opportunity. True accountability, some argue, would mean acting with humility and discretion. If she's truly hurting, she should lay low, handle matters privately, and let the focus shift back to facts rather than spectacle. The constant social media activity, public gestures, and PR stunts are only adding to the fire. Instead of addressing concerns directly, she keeps deflecting blame, making the narrative about herself rather than the issues at hand. Each new post, each orchestrated appearance seems designed to control the story, but often it backfires. Insiders suggest her attempts to manage public perception are increasingly transparent, making it difficult for audiences to separate performance from reality. Even small actions, like seemingly innocent interviews or fan interactions, are scrutinized and often criticized for being disingenuous. Critics argue that her pattern of behavior signals entitlement and a lack of genuine accountability. The more she positions herself as the victim, the less credible her claims seem to the public. Every attempt to spin the situation risks deepening the perception that she is avoiding responsibility. In Hollywood, image is everything, and public sentiment shifts quickly. One misstep, one poorly timed appearance, and the tide can turn overnight. Experts say that someone in her position should prioritize transparency and restraint over theatrical gestures. Unfortunately, Blake appears to be doing the opposite, doubling down on visibility rather than stepping back. Fans and industry insiders are watching closely, noting that repeated incidents compound the perception of a pattern rather than isolated mistakes. Every viral clip, every headline, and every social media post adds layers to the controversy. Some argue that her actions are undermining the legitimacy of her own harassment claims, as attention is drawn away from the substance of the allegations. Critics also point out that the ongoing public spectacle distracts from the broader conversation about power dynamics and accountability in Hollywood. By keeping the spotlight on herself, Blake risks overshadowing the issues that matter most. Observers suggest that her behavior could inadvertently encourage skepticism towards victims of harassment more generally, which has larger implications for the industry. Meanwhile, insiders report that the stress and scrutiny are taking a toll on Blake personally, though her public persona remains polished. The contrast between behind-the-scenes tension and her curated public image adds to the sense of disconnect. Experts note that sustained scrutiny often reveals cracks in even the most carefully managed celebrity images. Ultimately, many feel that the situation could be diffused if Blake chose to step back and allow the narrative to settle naturally. Silence, restraint, and private handling of disputes often earn more respect than high-profile performances. Yet she continues to engage, perhaps believing that controlling every detail is the only way to protect her brand. But the irony is that these efforts often have the opposite effect. Each attempt to stage a perfect image or manipulate public perception draws more attention to controversies, creating a feedback loop of scrutiny and criticism. The harder she tries to steer the narrative, the more it spirals. Advisors reportedly caution her that the current strategy could have long-term consequences, both professionally and personally. Reputation management experts emphasize that credibility is fragile, and repeated missteps can erode it faster than a single major scandal. For celebrities, perception often outweighs intent, meaning how the public interprets actions matters more than the reasoning behind them. In Blake's case, every public move is dissected for motives, sincerity, and consistency. Analysts say the ongoing pattern of deflection and performance risks alienating fans, colleagues, and the media alike. Without a strategic pause, the situation could continue to escalate, creating a cycle that's difficult to break. The takeaway, according to experts, is that sometimes doing less is more. Laying low, acknowledging mistakes, and allowing private resolutions to play out quietly often restores confidence far better than constant engagement. Yet Blake appears to be choosing visibility over discretion, and the repercussions are mounting. Ultimately, the public's patience have limits. Continued attempts to spin or control the narrative may only deepen skepticism and criticism. Observers suggest that genuine accountability, combined with restraint,